Yo, RX back with another breakdown of UFC Kansas City. Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. We back again. Fight night time. And yeah, we fucking back. 14 fights, got a lot to talk about. It actually is a pretty decent card, one or two bad fights, but that's about it. Besides that, we got a pretty good card and should be a fun one. KC Kansas City, baby. So, not much I can say. I don't do recaps to begin the video anymore, which I actually am very happy about, because my god, this would be like 2-hour video. And besides that, this is my 100th video, which is kind of cool that it's happening today, which April 3rd, well, tomorrow, Friday, whatever, April 13th, when I'm kind of filming this, is my birthday. So kind of cool that my 100th video I'm making on my birthday. So that's pretty fucking cool. Besides that, I can't think of anything else to say besides like, comment, sub, 100 subs if I did in the year. And as always, let's talk about some fights. 14. We got a lot of fighting going on in Kansas City, and it's not even bad fights. So, and prelims are even pretty good. So, we begin the prelims with a interesting bout at bantamweight. Yes, at women's bantamweight, we have Joselyne La Pantera Edwards versus Lucie Pudilová. Let's talk about Joselyne Edwards. Joselyne has had an up and down UFC career so far, and her UFC record is 3-2. Her 3 wins: Yanan Wu, Romana Pascal, and Gillian Kim. Her 2 losses: Carl Rosas and Jessica Rose Clark. Win-wise, Yanan Wu and Gillian Kim you should be beating. I think she lost that Pascual fight, and then losing to Cara Rosa ain't bad. It's the Rose Clark fight, which always seems to be which I think just has to keep being brought up every time she fights, because it's such a bad showing by her. Because losing to Jessica Rose Clark ain't the worst thing in the world. Losing Jessica Rose Clark because she completely wrestled you for 15 minutes is pretty bad. Like, I've said this every time broken down Joselyne fight. I like Jess, but you should not be getting wrestled by her. Jessie is a striker who always loses because of wrestling, so you lost a fight to Jessica Rose Clark because she literally just wrestled you for 15 minutes. So, let that sink in. And the Cara Rosa fight, same thing, she just got wrestled. Because that's a huge weakness in Joselyne's game. Her 2 biggest weaknesses, I would say, probably a gas tank and her wrestling. And the gas tank wise, we saw that in the Pascal fight. Actually, Pascal just looked better the whole fight. She should have won that fight. Like, and that Kim fight, if I remember correctly, it was kind of under a fruitable fight. Joselyne looked fine, got the win as she should have, and like, I don't know, I think going to a split decision of Gillian Kim ain't the greatest thing in the world. The 3 people the 3 wins she has, 3 quote, really the 2, are not good fighters, and her 2 losses are really 3. Like, losing to Cara Rosa is fine, but Rose Clark, how you did, and probably Romana Pascal is a bad look. Joselyne has shown moments of looking pretty good in the Yanan Wu and Kim fight, if I remember. She looked good in those fights, but then she has fights like Clark and Pascal where she looks very bad, and if I'm correct, she actually trains at a pretty good gym. I think she trains with like fucking pretty decent fighters, King's MMA. Yeah, I think that's like fucking, I don't know if she trains them, but she goes to the same gym as people like Giga, Benil Dariush, Shogun, RDA, fucking, like, she has decent talent around her, so I don't know if she's ever even trained with those people, but that's who also goes to King's MMA. I swear I've seen her in pictures of, is it Casey O'Neill? It's someone I follow on IG. I see Joselyne a lot. I think it might be Casey O'Neill. But she trains with decent people and go a decent gym, but her wrestling is still, and her cardio is very bad. So keep that in mind, especially in this matchup, because Lucie Pudilová is going to test both of those things. Now to talk about Lucie is 3-5 in the UFC, but since she returned to the UFC, she is 1-0 because her last fight was her return fight in the UFC after some time away. Her first run in the UFC wasn't too well, only going 2-4. Her wins in that first run, Gillian Kim, coincidence, and Sarah Moraz. Her losses: Lena Landsberg, Irene Aldana, Liz Carmouche, Antonina Shevchenko, and Justine Kish. 2-5, my bad. She wasn't losing to awful fighters. Landsberg in 2017, Irene, Carmouche, you're not mad at, but then when you get to Antonina and Justine Kish, you're like, ugh. You losing to those people is bad. But she left the UFC, or my bad, she got cut, and went on a 5-1 run in Octagon. I probably said that wrong, but she went on a nice 5-1 run and got re-signed. And in her last fight, she ran through Yanan Wu, explaining that her and Edwards both have UFC wins over Kim and Wu. Yeah, she looked great in that fight against Yanan Wu on pay-per-view. Don't ask, I don't even want to explain. She looked good. Her wrestling was good. She had to finish in the second. She showed she looked better than ever. She's only 28 years old and could be a nice re-addition to 135. Her wrestling's good. She has a couple finishes, 5 finishes in total of her 14 wins, and this is could be a nice added to a division that is so fucking bad. Women's one, explaining that women's bantamweight is so bad as men's bantamweight is so great, but you know, I guess that it's just fucking funny more than anything. So overall, yeah, Lucie Pudilová could be a nice re-addition to the division and bring some problems on paper for Joselyne. And the betting odds seem to agree. Her Lucie Pudilová is -150 to +125. Yeah, I agree. Lucie should be the favorite here, if not even a little bit bigger of a favorite, maybe more of a 180, 190. She should win this fight. Joselyne, I guess it does depend on what Joselyne shows up, but it could even be the best Joselyne. I think Lucie still wins. I think the bigger question in this fight is, how does Lucie win? That's a tough question. Edwards has only ever been finished one time in her career, and it was not in the UFC. And Lucie has got some finishes, but not often. So it's very going to depend on how gassed Joselyne gets. But overall, I am going Lucie Pudilová, of course. And I'm going by... I'm leaning decision. I think she'll wear down Joselyne. I won't be shocked if we get like a 10-8 round 2-3 or some shit. I wouldn't be shocked at 29-27 Pudilová. So yeah, I think Lucie should win this one, unless Edwards over 8 months has fixed her main 2 flaws, which I doubt that well. Lucie should get the win here, so I am going Lucie Pudilová by decision. After that, we have a interesting debuting fighter and a guy who's back after 3 years. You'll get what I mean in a second. We have Gaston, the Dream Killer Bolaños versus Aaron the Dragon Phillips. yeah, like I said, we got an interesting debuting fighter and a guy coming back after a long time away. So this is gonna be a very interesting fight, to say the least. So let's talk about Gaston Bolaños. Gaston is making his UFC debut, coming off of Bellator, getting a win. He does have a weird record, 6-3, and in his last 3 fights he has 1-2. But UFC sees something in him. I guess he's like a really good kickboxer or boxer. So I could see that's why they're signing him. I don't know really much about him besides he was in Bellator. He has a 6-3 record in Bellator, which you probably should be doing a little better if you're in Bellator and you made it to the UFC. But you know, yeah, he could be a nice new addition to the UFC. Bantamweight never stopped getting better and better, so could be a nice new ad. I don't know. We'll see. Overall, we'll see. The cool nickname, the Dream Killer. To talk about his opponent, Aaron Phillips. Been a while, man. Been a long fucking while. And this is his first fight in 3 years? Yes. 2020 against Jack Shaw was his last fight. So, yeah, he not had a good UFC career. He's 0-3. He had 2 fights back in 2014, lost them both, got cut, then went on an up and down run outside of the UFC, came back, lost to Jack Shore, and now has been off for 3 years and is back. He's went through 4 canceled fights, guys against like Chris Mutino, Adrian Yanez, Johnson Martinez, so he didn't even get a fight booked in 2022, so I guess that says a lot. He is 33 years old, so this probably is win or get cut, because if he loses, that'd be 4 in a row. 4 L's in a row over fucking almost 10 years. So, and from what I can remember seeing of him, he's really done nothing in the UFC. Like, he's never really looked that impressive from what I can remember. So, maybe, unless I'm forgetting something, I don't remember him ever looking that impressive. So, overall, he's pretty much just cannon fodder in this fight, I think. Yeah. The betting odds have Gaston Bolaños -180 to +155. I agree. I would say the same thing I did for Lucie. Not -200, but just about. He should win this fight. This is a not even hand-picked match. Aaron wanted a fight. He got a fight, and Gaston. Let's see if Aaron can do Christian Rodriguez and be a spoiler. Do I think it's gonna happen? Fuck no. I think Aaron's gonna get his ass beat and probably knocked out or finished. I think this is gonna be a successful debut for Gaston, who has 5 first-round finishes. Never won a fight by anything besides a knockout. That's TKO. So keep that in mind. And yeah, man, I'm going Gaston, obviously, and I'm going Gaston by knockout in the first. I think he's a nice, interesting. I think he could be a nice, interesting add to bantamweight, and Aaron Phillips is just fucking cannon fodder. So I'm going Gaston Bolaños by knockout in the first. Does bantamweight ever stop getting good? Like I said, women's bantamweight needs to get good. Men's bantamweight can't stop getting good. So crazy. After that, we back to the females in a fight I'm actually very hyped for. So I'm very hyped to see a prospect in this one. We have Bruna, the special one, Brazil, versus Denise D. Gomes. Let's talk about Bruna Brazil. Very excited for the debut of Bruna Brazil in this one, coming off Contender Series. That vicious knockout of Marnik Man. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Beautiful knockout. It's winning her shin with her foot to a man's face. So beautiful knockout that got her a contract, of course. She looked really good in that fight. I don't remember her even having any problems, man. She was like 5-6 inches taller, so yeah, that's something to factor in. But she is I'm very sorry if that was loud. Very intrigued to see her. How she looked in her debut, and with a step up in competition, and she could be a nice added strawweight, man. She's very lengthy, 66-inch reach, 5'6" height, only 29 years old, 8-2-1 record on a nice long winning streak. I think she's a very interesting prospect that in a couple years, I'm not saying champion, I'm not saying anything like that, but if you told me within the next couple years she's a ranked strawweight, I'd believe you. I think she has the makings of it, man. 7 wins in a row, looking to make it 8 before she's doing 30, and strawweight's weaker. Strawweight's really top heavy, and it's kind of weaker in those bottom ranks outside of like Yasmin Hagui, Vanessa Demopoulos, etc. So she could be a nice add to that list. To talk about her opponent, Denise Gomes, another fighter I was excited to see off Contender Series, but then she had a pretty bad debut. Coming off Contender Series, she had a pretty good fight, pretty good performance. Both these females coming off the same season, 2022 DWCS. So keep that in mind. I think that's very fun and interesting. Yeah, Gomes looked good on fucking DWCS, a dominant decision if I remember, and got the contract. Then not long after, she was already breaking that contract in less than a month later in a tough fight against Lucie, where she just got outclassed. The highlight of that fight for Gomes was a couple shots she landed in the third before I think she got taken down, and yeah, she just got outclassed for pretty much 15 minutes. Lucie is no easy debut for anyone, let alone on short notice. Gomes didn't look great, but Gomes looked okay. Tough debut. What can you say? Tough debut for anyone, let alone 22 years old. Your fucking 8th pro fight in the UFC. Short notice against Lucie. What do you expect? I think she does have a step down competition here, but it's still, I think, a very tough fight, and it's gonna. This could answer a lot of questions about Gomes, because losing 2 in a row, and now you're kind of hating. You're starting to get onto the ice. So they're not giving her easy matchups, like I said, but still 2 in a row for anyone is kind of, especially after getting a contract, you kind of need to get wins quick, or Dana will just cut you. So keep that in mind. The betting odds for this fight have Bruna Brazil minus 230 to plus 190. Yeah, I probably have Bruna minus 200 on the dot. She should win this fight. She is the lengthier fighter. She is taller by 4 inches, 3-inch reach advantage. Looked better, has on a winning streak, more experience, but not much, by a little. And I think she has the higher ceiling of the two, and probably the better skills of the two. She will probably just keep us on the feet and strike. Maybe it'll go to the ground, but we'll see. Most likely she'll just stay at range and do what she did against man. Probably not the knockout. Gomes is pretty tough, but probably at least some good shots, maybe a drop. And I think Bruna Brazil will get the W here. Though I am going Bruna Brazil by decision. I don't think she gets the finisher. Gomes is pretty tough. Maybe. I just really don't see Brazil landing another crazy head kick like she did. So I am going Bruna Brazil by decision. Very, very, very excited for her debut. Cannot wait. One of the most hyped fights on the card, for me at least. So Bruna Brazil by decision. After that, we going through these. No, I'm not rushing. Just do you really want me to talk more about fucking, I don't know, Aaron Phillips and Joselyne Edwards? No, you don't. as we get deeper in the card to the bigger names, which actually have a lot of names on this card, we'll talk more. I'll talk more, and this one is one I'll talk more about. As we have Groovy Lando Vannata versus Daniel Golden Boy Zellhuber. Let's talk about Groovy Lando. Lando, ups, downs, turnarounds, everything you can do in the UFC, he's done. 4-6-2 record. I think everyone knows him for his debut, short nose against Tony Ferguson, putting up a hell of a fight. Did lose, but what can you do? And ever since, he's never had the same outcome. Just to go through all of the UFC fights: loss, win, loss, draw, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. What the fuck? First of all, how the fuck do you have 2 draws within 3 fights? How the fuck did he not get cut after going 0-2-2 in over 4 fights? Like, man, he's had decent wins: John Magdesi, Yancy Medeiros, Mike Grundy, but most of the losses are guys you would expect him to lose to. Like I said, Tony, Bobby Green, Charles Jourdain, Mark DeCasey, Dakar Close, and his 2 draws are Bobby Green and Matt Frivola. So he's beating guys he should be beating. He's losing to guys he mainly should be losing to, and I don't remember those draws too well. I don't even remember, probably nutshot, cage grab, something stupid. So, yeah. Lando has had his last couple performances have been pretty like the Jourdain performance, he just got choked out. Against Grundy, I don't remember that fight, but I remember he looked against Bobby, he looked fine. Like, he's had up and down performances. He should, like, I don't know, he's had some ups and downs, mainly, all I can say. But he is coming off a loss. Never had the same outcome twice. So either this is gonna be a draw or a win. Please don't be a fucking draw. Should be interesting. Groovy you never know what you're getting with Lando, literally. That's the final Lando. Lando, I think, is an underrated, like, fan favorite, because you just never know what you're getting with Lando. So what you do know you're getting is Daniel Zellhuber as his opponent. This kid fucking sucks. Coming off Contender Series, he looked good, beating Lucas Almeida, who is pretty good. But then his UFC debut happened, and it was one of the worst debuts ever. He literally didn't do shit. For 15 minutes, he pretty much did almost William Knight cosplay, because he didn't fucking do anything. He just fucking stood there and let Trey Ogden beat him. Trey Ogden, a guy who we just saw last week do nothing for 15 minutes besides get kicked at by Ignacio Bahamondes, which is not a bad thing, but still, Trey Ogden's trash, dog. You lost to Trey Ogden, and he was like a huge fucking favorite. He was minus 390. Dude, it's minus 390, dog, and you are getting beat badly by fucking Trey Ogden. Let me repeat, you're getting beat soundly by Trey Ogden. I get 23 years old. I get that was only his 13th fight against it. But dude, you should not be losing to Trey Ogden if it's your first fucking fight. Trey Ogden's trash, dog. Dude can't strike. He cannot fucking strike. And he beat you by fucking striking mainly. It's like, what the fuck? I don't know. I'm not high on this kid at all anymore. I won't lie, I completely picked him against Ogden. I probably hyped him up just like everyone else did. He's gonna run through Ogden, blah 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 blah. And he proceeds to not do that at all. He proceeds to do almost the complete opposite. So, kid lost people a lot of money, made people a lot of money more than anything. So good for him. So I don't know, I'm not very high on Zellhuber. He has to sell me, man. The betting odds for this fight are pretty much near even. Zellhuber minus 115, minus 105. Probably by fight time, Zellhuber will come out as a small favorite, but not by much. I don't know if anyone could trust him after that last performance. You can say debut jitters, but even then, debut jitters, you at least fucking try. He just didn't fight. He literally just did not fucking fight, man. It's weird how he just, I don't know. Who am I going with in this one? I'm going groovy, man. I'm going groovy Lando to get to W here. I think he gets a W here. I think he just veterans his way to a W here. I think Zellhuber is not good, and I think veteranship will be the winner. So I'm going groovy Lando by decision. I think he just outsmarts the kid. If the kid actually comes to fucking fight, it might be fun, but besides that, I'm going groovy to get the win. So Lando Vannata by decision. After that, speaking of no striking, we go from someone who didn't strike to someone who I don't think's ever thrown a fucking punch. We have Piera La Fiera Rodriguez versus Gillian the Savage Robertson. Interesting fight. Very intriguing fight here that I'm interested to see what's gonna happen. Let's talk about Piera Rodriguez. Piera is 9-0, 2-0 in the UFC. Her 2 wins, Kay Hansen and Sam Hughes, in pretty dominant performances. Against Kay, she literally ragdolled her for 15 minutes. Against Sam, she had a little bit of an underwhelming performance, but she still had a pretty decent performance. She's good. Her hands need a lot of work. I literally remember saying during the Sam Hughes fight, or I don't know if I said or just thought it, when she fights someone who stops her takedowns and can strike, she's losing. Well, they didn't give her someone who could strike. She needs to get her striking fixed ASAP, because she cannot. In that Sam Hughes fight, she literally only won because of wrestling. Her striking's fucking terrible. They gave her a fight where she doesn't really need to strike much, just bare minimum striking to win. If anything, she's gonna be stopping takedowns. But man, if you win this, they're probably gonna give you a better fight, and you need to fucking get that striking going. What gym does she go to? No idea does she train for anyone fun? Yeah, I don't know. I think Piera's an interesting prospect. 30 years old, and she is the best fighter at her own gym. Well, at her gym. Fuck. 9-0, 30 years old. Has shown promise, but needs striking badly. Speaking of someone who needs striking, but hasn't said fuck you to ever getting it, Gillian Robertson. I think we know what we're getting with Gillian by now. If you watch Gillian fight enough, you know what you're getting. Gillian is literally here to grapple. She will not strike. She cannot strike. And if you make it a striking match, you will win. Like, if you look at Gillian's wins, she is 8-5 in the UFC. She has a good record, but let's be honest, who are those wins? Emily Whitmire, Maya McCann, Veronica Hardy, Sarah Frota, Courtney Casey, Poliana Botelho, Pashula Keshweda, and Maria Akapova. She's not beating great competition. If you look at a couple names, they're very well known for being shit wrestlers. Molly McCann, Agapova. And if you look at her losses, Amara Bueno Silva, Macy Baba, Talia Santos, Miranda Maverick, JD Aldridge. What do all those 5 have in common? They are wrestlers, grapplers, whatever. If you stop Gillian's takedowns, you will beat Gillian Robertson. Gillian's a good test for someone's wrestling, but this fight kind of is stupid because Piera is a great wrestler. She needs to work on her striking. But actually, no, I take it back. This is genius. They get to watch. Piera gets to work on her striking live in a fight. Actually, this is genius. Good book in UFC. I didn't even think about that. So, Yeah, long story short, Gillian just needs to get to the ground. Oh, and let me fix that. Gillian, only way of winning is getting it to the ground. So, yeah. And if you want to know if Gillian can strike or not, she got finished KO'd by Macy Barber. You are trash. So, respect Gillian. You're a veteran of the game, but you're a veteran strawweight, but you cannot strike for shit. So, Gillian Robertson. The betting odds are actually, I think, completely wrong. 110 apiece. I would have Piera a pretty decent favorite. If she might even be my lock of the night. This card's very hard for a lock. I haven't even thought about today because, of course, other shit. But as of right now, Piera might be my lock of the night. All she has to do is stop takedown and keep it on the feet, and she gets to practice her striking. I think it's a win-win-win for Piera. Easy matchup, practice striking, and get a nice veteran win. I think she's the bigger girl. No, she actually is shorter. But I think she's the more, what word do I want to use? I feel like she is the wider, and not the greatest word to use, but I think you know what I mean, and probably stronger. So, this is gonna be an interesting one. I am going Piera to get the win here. Stop takedowns and you should win. So I'm going Piera Rodriguez by decision. Will I be shocked if this fight sucks? No. But should be a very intriguing fight. So Piera Rodriguez by decision. After that, a fight I'm not gonna waste time talking about because it should not be happening in the UFC. It should be happening as the Bellator, the local Bellator main event. Herman Vs Zak Cummings. Why the fuck is a battle between a 42-year-old and a 38-year-old happening on a UFC card and not opening it? Huh? I'm not gonna waste time. You don't care about this fight. I don't care about this fight. No one cares about this fight. I'm going Zak Cummings to get the win here, probably by decision. Yeah, I'm going Zak Cummings by decision. Next, nothing more to say. Fuck actor Ed. On to the next fight. Which the fact is, this is still a prelim fight, and it's gonna be a prelim fight. Beyond a fucking crime. This fight should easily be on the main card, but the UFC is fucking stupid and said, no, put this amazing fight on the prelims. That fight I'm talking about, and if you've seen the card, or you probably already know what I'm talking about Brandon Raw Dog Royval versus Matheus Nicolau. Why the fuck is this on the prelims? First of all, you put Brandon Royval on the prelims. How dare you? Second of all, you with Nicolau? Why the fuck is this on the prelims? Let's talk about Brandon Royval, who I like to call 125 Tony Ferguson. Does not give a shit. Raw dog season, baby. In the UFC, he is 4-2. His 4 wins. Tim Elliott, Kai Car France, Rodrigo Bontorin, and Matt Schnell. His 2 losses, Brandon Moreno and Alexandre Pantoja. If he's beating guys he should beat, Elliott, Bontorin, Schnell, and then Kai Car is a really good win. That's aging better. And his 2 losses are Brandon Moreno, but he did dislocate his shoulder right at the end of round 1, so who knows how the fight would have went deeper. And Pantoja, who is fighting for the belt. Literally, he lost to the guys who are fighting for the belt, or just got booked yesterday. So, he's good, man. His one flaw is he's very chinny, which is kind of weird. That it's fun to call him 125 Tony, even though he has a pretty bad chin. The Car France fight is definitely a fight that shows that. Yeah, his chin's very sus, and against a guy like Nicolau, that could be a problem. Besides that, grappling wise, he's very good. He'll lock in submissions and get him. Striking wise, he's not a bad striker, just again, his chin is very sus. He's a fun fighter, man. He's one of the most fun 125ers. Should be a fan favorite of more people if he fought more often. This is his first fight since middle of last year, so it's been over a year, but dude has gotten unlucky. Oscar Askarov pulled out the day before, and Amir Albazi he broke his wrist. Royval did, so dude's just getting fucking unlucky. But as of right now, a little more than 24 hours away, he's gonna be fighting Matheus Nicolau finally. So raw dog, baby, raw dog. To talk about his opponent, Matheus Nicolau, not bad. He's pretty good. He is through 7-1 in the UFC. His 7 wins are, let's see, he's had a split career also. So he's coming off tough, so he came off tough, didn't win tough, then had 4 fights, won 3 of them, lost 1. It only lost to Dustin Ortiz. Then I guess his contract ended, he left, and then came back in 2021 to pick up 4 wins. Manel Kopp, which he probably did lose that fight. Tim Elliott, David Dvorak, and Matt Schnell. The dude's on a nice roll right now. Especially the last couple fights against Dvorak, he was an underdog, and I picked him because I think it was obvious he was gonna win. Matt Schnell, he ended the Schnell hype real quick. Not like there's any hype, but you know, Tim Elliott's always a good guy to beat. So you know, Nicolau is good, man. In his last couple fights, he's not shown really any flaws. Again, Dvorak he destroyed. Schnell he did what he had to do. Like the only fight in his latest run he's looked bad in was the Kopp fight, which he probably lost. But losing Manel Kopp ain't bad, especially since the dude's fighting Figueiredo. So Manel Kopp's really fucking good. So not really much more you can say. Nicolau is very fucking good, and this is a battle of 2 top 6 flyweights. So this is gonna be a banger, bro. This could either be 5 of the night. This should be on the main card. It's not being on the main card. It's a fucking crime. But let's enjoy this shit. The betting odds have Matheus Nicolau -165 to +135. I don't get that. I say near even. Like, I guess, actually going to make Nicolau like -140. I don't mind, but small favor. Like, Royval's a dog, bro. His chin might be questionable, but Royval's a dog, and never count out raw dog. So, with that being said, I'm biased, and I have to pick Brandon Royval, because it's Brandon motherfucking Royval. I'm going Brandon Royval by decision. He's gonna do Brandon Royval things. Cause he's Brandon motherfucking Royval. Raw dog season, baby. Raw dog season. And now the featured prelim, which yes, they really booked this fight over Brandon Royval and Matheus Nicolau. UFC fucking hates good fights. Featured prelim, TJ Downtown Brown versus Bill Senor Perfecto Algeo. What the fuck? Why is this the featured prelim over Royval? Like, dude, this should not be. Fuck, I think Piera Rodriguez is a better fight. I think fucking Lando, Bruna, Brazil, even Gaston are better fights. Why? You'll see, makes sense. Let's talk about TJ Brown. TJ is just a wrestler. His striking is, I think, a thing. He is 3-3 in the UFC. His 3 wins are Kai Kamaka. Well, I refer that he's 2-4 in the UFC. His 2 wins are Charles Rosa and Eric Silva. His 4 losses are Jordan Griffin, Danny Chavez, Kai Kamaka, and Shailen Nurmagomedov. So 2 wins, Charles Rosa, who didn't beat Charles Rosa, and Eric Silva's trash. His 4 losses, Jordan Griffin, and not great. Chavez, same thing. Kai Kamaka's good, and so is Shailen. Dude lost to whatever competition. He beat pretty much layups. He's just a wrestler. Like, he's just trying to grind you out, get you down, and win. Which, like I said, against shitty fighters like Rosa and Silva, it's gonna work. Not against guys like Kai, Shailen, and Griffin. So, Yeah, I have not much, and he lost to Trey Ogden. This dude's trash. Yeah, not much I gotta say about TJ. He's not very good. I've never, until he actually proves something, I'm not very high on TJ Brown, not Dillashaw, but I'm not high on TJ Dillashaw for different reasons. To talk about Bill Algeo, aka Corey Sandhagen's brother, pretty much. In the UFC, Bill is also 3-3. His 3 wins are Spike Carlisle, Joe Anderson Brito, and Herbert Burns. His 3 losses are Ricardo Ramos, did I say Lamas, Ricardo Ramos, and Andre Fili. Yeah, dude's had a fun UFC career so far. Like, his wins, Spike Carlisle has actually had a pretty good career since getting cut. Joe Anderson Brito had a very Zellhuber debut, and Herbert Burns was a really good performance, just showing off pretty much. For his losses, debuting against Ricardo Lamas ain't easy. Ricardo Ramos is pretty good, and Andre Fili fight was a war that he could have won. So, dude's had some ups and downs. Fuck, on Contender Series, he fucking fought Brandon Loughnane, who's a beast. Fucking, he fought Shane Burgos years ago. So, dude's fought some names. He's not beat him. He's beat guys like Herbert Burns and fucking Carlisle, but dude's fought some killers. And he's good. I think Bill's good. He's a fun fighter. He very rarely has bad fights, and if he has a bad fight, it's probably good he's losing. So, he's fun, you know? He's fun. That Fili fight was great, that Burns fight was fun. He's just a fun fighter. The betting odds for this fight have Bill Algeo -160 to +135. Yeah, Bill should win this, just don't get taken down and held down, and you should win. So, not really rocket science. I am going Bill Algeo to win this fight. Keep it on the feet, and you will win. I'm going Bill Algeo by decision. I think he does what I say. Keep it on the feet, get the W, baby. Not much more to really say. Fun prelims. Couple highlights. Royval, mainly Bruna, Brazil, Lando, Vannata, Bolaños, fucking Piera. You got a couple duds like Herman and Brown, but overall it's not bad. But now we move on to the main card as I take a quick hydration, because it's hot as fuck it's hot as fuck right now weather-wise. Who's I talk about it? Actually, really good main card. Fuck. Now as we begin the main card of a fight I cannot wait for, because I'm always hyped to see this one fighter fight. We have Clay the Carpenter Guida versus gifted Rafa García. This is gonna be a good one, man. This is gonna be a really good fight. Fuck. It's gonna be a really good fight. These two dudes have a lot of the same style, so gonna be fun. Let's talk about Clay very little, because I really don't need to talk about Clay. I'll just talk about his recent performances. Because we'd be here for a long time if we talked about Clay overall. Dude's 18 and 16 in the UFC. In his last couple fights, he's had some ups and downs. Beat Michael Johnson, lost to Mark Madsen, even though a lot of people say he won. Beat Leonardo Santos in that insane comeback. Lost to Puelles, beat Holtzman. Dude's still winning. Dude can still go, shockingly. Like, of course he couldn't go with guys like ranked guys, but he can still go with guys like Puelles, Johnson, Madsen, Green, Bobby Green, Jim Miller, etc. He can still go. For being 41, he fights like he's about 35, in his mid-30s. Like, he still has an amazing gas tank, and he's still Clay Guida, man. Like, nothing more you can say. He's still Clay Guida. He just shaved his hair. He just cut his hair, which sucks, but now seems like he's still winning, man. He's won. Like, a lot of people would say it's 4-1 in his last 5. Let that sink in. 41 years old at lightweight, 4-1 in his last 5. That shit's crazy. Just shows why Clay Guida is a fucking legend. To talk about his opponent, Rafa Garcia, he is 3-3 in the UFC. Who fucking isn't, I guess. His 3 wins, Natan Levy, Jesse Ronson, and Machete. His 3 losses, Nazar Hakparas, Chris Gritzmacher, and Dakar Close. For his 3 wins, he's beat shitty fighters. Natan Levy and Jesse Ronson are trash, and Machete's a welterweight draining himself to make 55. For his 3 losses, Nazareth, he put up a fight and he got a lot of hype off of it, and then he shit the bed against Gritzmacher. And then for Closer, that was a fun fight, but he did lose. Yeah, we've all heard the story with Rafa. He fucking great performance against Nazareth, and then somehow loses to a layup like Gritzmacher. So Rafa's good. It's funny, they kind of booked Clay Guida against a guy who fights like Clay Guida. He wants to wear you out, and like against Machete, he did. With Natan Levy, he did. Ronson, he just finished. Like, Rafa he drains you, man. You're not gonna finish him. Like, dude, Rafa's way too tough to finish. So, dude, in the fight against Machete, he had a brutal cut that cut like a fucking artery. Or almost did. The dude's a tough son of a bitch. Fuck. So this fight's gonna come down to whose cardio lasts longer. I think the cardio side of this fight goes to Clay Guida. It always does. Striking, it probably goes to Rafa. Wrestling probably goes to Rafa because he's younger. Strength, Rafa. So I'm worried for Clay in this fight. I won't be shocked if he's just manhandled on the ground or just outstruck, maybe even finished. But I think Clay could pull off, let's say later in round 2, gets a nice takedown at the end of the round that's close, makes it 1-1 going into the 3rd, wins the 3rd because Rafa's gassed, and he wins. I don't think that's impossible. And knowing Clay Guida, fucking nothing's impossible. Do I think that's gonna happen? Maybe, probably not, but I'm biased again, and I'll never not pick Clay Guida, one of my favorite fighters ever, and I'm always gonna go Clay. And I don't think it's a stupid, even if I wasn't biased, I don't think it's the most insane pick ever. He can win this fight. Realistically, I think he can win this fight. He's not gonna gas before Rafa does. If he does, then something's literally wrong. Cause when was the last time Guida gassed? Like, dude does not fucking gas. So, I'm going Clay Guida by decision. Yes, it's complete bias. No, I don't give a fuck. Clay Guida by decision. But most likely, Rafa will win. After that, we really start getting to the good fights on this card, as we have Pedro, the young actor Munoz, versus Chris El Guapo Gutierrez. Not gonna talk much on Pedro. I don't respect Pedro. He's an acting little bitch who found a way out against O'Malley because he knew he was gonna lose. In the biggest moment of his life, he fucking bitched out. So I'll talk about the real fighter in this fight, Chris Gutierrez. Chris is good, man. Like, if anyone who didn't see Chris becoming something big in UFC, clearly was not watching. He's 7-1-1 UFC, and he's on a nice fucking winning streak. In his fucking 7 wins in a row, not counting the draw. Ryan McDonald, Gennaro Di Fritz, Vince Morales by leg kicks, Andre Ull, Felipe Colares, Dana Baccarel, Frankie Edgar, the last 2 being vicious knockouts. And the only guy he's lost to in the UFC is Hani Barcelos, who just seems to somehow at that time beat everyone he was not meant to beat. But Chris is good, man. Excuse me. Dude, his leg kicks are fucking vicious. His striking's really good. He really sets shit up well. Look at the fucking Edgar knockout. And he's a dog. He's a fucking dog. 31 years old, and he's really coming into his own now, man. This is his chance. This is his Edgar with a layup, we all know that. This is his time to show up. Like, this is his I'm here fight. So, and I'm excited. The Bolaños have Chris minus 220 to plus 180, of course. Munoz sucks. He's a little bitch, and Chris is gonna win. So I am going Chris Gutierrez by decision here. He should win this. There's right not much more to say. Shitty Pedro. Little bitch. Yeah, not much to say. I don't have much respect for Pedro Munoz. Now we move on to a fight that I would throw down to the prelims for Brandon Royval. As we have at light heavyweight, this one is gonna be weird. We have Ian the Hulk Cutelaba versus Tanner the Bulldozer Boser. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Let's talk about Ian Cutelaba. The king of gassing is now just the king of shit. Dude's trash. This man's for real garbage. In his last, in the UFC, he's 5-8-1. In his last 6, he has a loss, a draw, a win, and then 3 finishes, not 3 L's in a row. Dude's just kind of shitty. And he had one amazing performance against Devin Clark and has not shown up since. Ryan Spam made him his bitch. Johnny Walker made him his bitch. Kennedy and Vechiku made him his bitch. And Jacoby beat him. So, really, in his last couple, he's only beat Devin Clark, who was kind of shitty. So, this is Kutelaba's last chance. If he loses this, he's cut, for sure. He needs this win. Is this a more winnable fight than those other fights? I think so. Definitely a step down competition from Ryan Spam, Magomed Ankalaev, Dustin Jacoby, fucking Kennedy and Vechiku, but let's see if he's up to the plate, man, because this is probably his last chance. He'll get a job immediately. Bellator PFO will take him in a second, but to stay in the UFC, he needs to get this win. To talk about his opponent, Tanner Boser, who fucking finally moved down to 205. I'm excited to see how he looks at 205. I'm very interested to see the weigh-ins, what he weighs at 205. How is it more of a 206? Is it more of a maybe even a little lighter? I'm interested. In the UFC, he is 4-4. His 4 wins. No one cares about the first guy. Felipe Lins, Rafael Pesosa, and OSP. His 4 losses: Cyril Gahn, Andre Arlovsky, Alil Latifi, he won that fight, and Rodrigo Nascimento, that last one being a very bad performance in his last fight. He just looked like he didn't want to fight. He looked like he was just there to be there. He looked awful in that Nascimento fight, and I think that fight made him decide to move down. And it's genius. He should have done it sooner, but he's finally moving down, and it's gonna be an interesting move, man. He's very powerful, very quick striker, and it's not like this is a bad cut for him. He never even weighed in that much at heavyweight. He's only 230 if I remember right. Yeah, 229. Dude, he easily, I think it'll look pretty good on the scales, if anything, and I'm excited. This is the right move for his career, and I think it's gonna change a lot for him, because he's doing fine at heavyweight, but those bigger guys are just beating him. Gahn, Arlovsky, and Nascimento. He beat Latifi, fuck all of you. But even he kind of squeaked by guys like OSP. So this is the right move for Boser. This is the right move for Tanner. The betting odds for this fight have Ian a small favorite, kind of minus 120 to plus 110. Probably by fight time, Ian will jump out to a little bit of a favorite. I think a lot of it depends on the weigh-ins. This is gonna be interesting, man. A lot of this comes down to, can Tanner keep it on the feet? If he can keep it on the feet, push Ian off of him, then he's gonna win. Cause Ian's gonna gas and Tanner's gonna fucking do what he does. But if Tanner gets taken down like he did in his last fight, even with a gassed Ian, he probably will, he'll probably lose. So this is gonna be an answer fight. It all comes down to stopping takedowns, and do I think he will? yeah, I'm going Tanner Boser in this one. I think he'll do what he has to do to stop takedowns and get the win. So I am going Tanner Boser by... I'm feeling a knockout in the second. Yeah, I think he finishes Eon in the second. Eon's gassed in the second. Tanner lands a nice shot where he gets on top, ground and pounds, and gets the W, goes home. And maybe the new man at 205 could be a resurgence. So, going Tanner Boser by knockout in the second. And let's see how he looked at 205, man. Could have saved his career doing this. So, Boser knockout in the second. 3 more, and 3 pretty good fights left. We start off with Dustin the Handyak Jacoby versus Azamat the Professional Murzakanov. Great fight. I'm very hyped. Let's talk about Jacoby. Dustin Jacoby, one of the most underrated fighters in UFC. I think he's really good. And since his, I'm not gonna talk about his first UFC run because I think that's kind of irrelevant. His second run, he's been great. He's undefeated, I think. Justin Ledet, Maxim Grisham, Eon, Stewart, Allen, Olejniczak, Jung, and Roundtree. I think he won all those fights. He won that Roundtree fight. I don't care what anyone says. That was one of the worst robberies I've seen. Like, that was bad. I don't know what the fuck they were watching to clear that fight. But yeah, Jacoby won that fight. Anyone who disagrees is fucking high. Yeah, he's good. He's a really good striker. He was doing a lot of kickboxing after he got cut. Oh, he fought fucking Alex Piera. He got knocked out because Alex Piera. But though he was in there for Alex, and if you're fighting Alex, that means you're probably a pretty good fucking kickboxer. So that should say a lot about Jacoby. He's really good. Yeah, I don't think his wrestling's like I don't think his wrestling's shitty either, if I can remember correctly. So dude was really good. He if he didn't get fucking robbed against Roundtree, he'd probably be getting a pretty decent fight right now. Just he got robbed against Roundtree. So what can you do? But a win here will get him. A win here will get him right back into the top of the, well, in the rankings. So knocking off Azamat, taking that O, will be huge for Jacoby. So, and he could do it. Like, he can easily just keep Azamat away for 15 minutes and do what he does, like he done in his more underwhelming performances, like Olejniczak and Allen. Just keep away and win. So, I'm interested to see how Jacoby looks in this fight. To talk about Azamat Murzakanov, a couple problems you see in his game. He's 34 years old. He's had some weird performances in the UFC. He's very powerful, 2 finishes, but he's had weird performances against underwhelming competition. Losing to Tafon before the knockout, losing to Devin Clark. Well, actually, I think it's beating Clark, but still not a great performance. Like, the dude is good, but he's a weird starter. He like doesn't. He kind of fights like a Chris Curtis. He relies on just his power to win. And I think this could be his Gaston fight. If you just rely on your power to beat Jacoby, it probably won't work. But if he relies on some wrestling, get him down, tire him out, maybe this, that, the other thing, I think he can get the win here. Like this, I think could go either way, to be honest. I get why Jacoby is a -205 favorite, but at the same time, dude, Azamat, I think he's very interesting. So this is such a good fight, actually. And another problem, height, size difference. 6'3" versus 5'10", 78-inch reach versus 71-inch reach. That could be a huge problem for Azamat Murzakanov. But we'll see what happens. I don't agree with the betting odds. I would move Jacoby down to more of a -150, 140 favorite. I think 205 is a little much because still Azamat has that O, and that dude's powerful as fuck. So, who am I going with in this fight? Fuck. I could see it going either way. Jacoby can keep him away and win decision. Azamat can get in close, do what he does best. Man, that's gonna be a good one. I think I'm going Azamat though. I have a weird feeling. I think I'm leaning towards Azamat Murzakanov. I think he can get in close, do what he does, make it dirty, maybe finish Jacoby. I doubt it, but I think he at least hurt him, maybe get on top, win a round or two late. And I don't know, Azamat does gas, but this can be a weird fight. I'm very excited, but I am leaning Azamat Murzakanov. So I'm going Azamat by decision. I hate picking against Jacoby. I do like Jacoby, but I think Azamat, I think this could be Azamat's last window, because if he wins this, he's probably going to be getting a really good step in competition. Then I think he's taking an L. But here I think he actually does take the win. So Azamat Murzakanov by decision. After that, we head into the co-main event of the evening. An amazing fight I can't wait for. We have Edson Jr. Barboza versus Billy Quarantillo. What a banger, dog. These two are gonna go at it. This is gonna be fun. These two psycho motherfuckers are gonna do what they do best. Not gonna talk much about Edson. We all know Edson Barboza is one of the greatest KOs ever, one of the best kickers ever, and getting older though. 37, 2 L's in a row against great competition, Guida and Bryce Mitchell. But he's starting to have wishy-washy performances, so I want to keep that in mind. And how much longer can a guy like him make this 45 cut very well, because this ain't his weight class. 55 is his weight class, but he's doing this weight cut because he can. So Edson's still dangerous no matter what. 37 years old, he's still dangerous. But a guy who has that dog in him, Billy Q, bro. 5-2 in the UFC. His only 2 losses are Gavin Tucker and Shane Burgos. 2 guys you can't get mad at lose to. His wins, Jacob Kilburn, Spike Carlisle, Kyle Nelson, Gabriel Benitez, and Alexander Hernandez. So yeah, he's not really had any of those statement wins, and the 2 guys he could have beat for that, who he could have beat to get that, he lost to pretty soundly. But I think Billy Q's gotten a lot better since. That Hernandez fight showed a lot. He showed heart. We already knew he was a dog, but that Hernandez fight showed a lot. He has that dog in him. Billy Q has that fucking dog in him, man. I think he's gonna show that dog a lot in this fight. He doesn't need to make it through those early swarms by Edson, those kicks, the whole fight. He doesn't need to show that dog, and can he show that dog against Edson? Gonna be interesting. He's gonna need to throw. He's gonna need to make it. He can't fight an MMA fight with Edson. He's gonna need to fight a brawl with Edson, because fighting a brawl with Edson will win him this fight most likely. With the Edson we have now, maybe a prime Edson, it's a different story, but with the Edson Barboza we have right now, making it a dog fight is what's gonna get him his hand raised. So this is gonna be an interesting one, man. The kicks versus the dog in him, veteranship. It's gonna be weird. I'm excited. I am very excited, but man, this is interesting. Who do I got in this one? I'm leaning Billy Q. I'm leaning Billy Q. I think he will get the win here. I think he's gonna make it a dogfight, man. I think he'll make it the dogfight it needs to be. And how do I see him getting the win? I'm going a knockout / TKO in this. Second or third? I'm leaning second. It could be a third. It could just be a decision. But I think Billy Q does walk away with the win here, and the betting odds agree. He is -165 for a reason, which I'm actually shocked they do have him as that favorite. I thought they would have him maybe near even, if not even Edson favorite. But Billy Q, man, it's hard to count out. You could be the dog in someone can change the entire fight. They might not be a more skilled fighter, but if you have that dog, it's a different fucking story. So I think that makes it really interesting. Wow. I'm going Billy Q by TKO knockout in a second here. Make it a dog fight, and let's see what happens. I think he's gonna put a pace on Edson. Edson won't be able to keep up with 37, so I'm going Billy Q by knockout in a second. And now for the main event of the evening. To close out a fun night in Kansas City, we have a banger at featherweight between Max Blessed Holloway versus Almighty Arnold Allen. What a banger to close out a night in Kansas City. A great card. And let's talk about this fight. I don't need to talk about Max Holloway. If I need to explain to you who Max Holloway is, you don't watch MMA. Stop watching. Arnold Allen, on the other hand, you might need to know who he is because he's finally fighting consistently. He's a great fighter. 19-1 on a nice streak right now. A lot of people saying the future featherweight. This is his test. Yeah, he kind of beat Calvin Kattar. He beat Dan Hooker, Sadiq Yusuf, Nicolau, Gilbert Melendez. But none of those guys are Max Blessed. This is gonna be a test for Allen. This is let's see if you can pass it, man. This is gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be pretty much. I don't see this hitting the mat. I don't know who would even want it to hit the mat. So it's gonna be pretty much striking for 25 minutes. Could I see a finish? Yeah, but I'm not counting on it. Could I see a submission? No. I think we're gonna go to the decision for sure. Who gets that decision? In my opinion, the best is still Blessed, baby. Unless he's fighting Volk. Until this is proven wrong, unless he's fighting Volk, he still beats everyone in this division. Max Holloway's last featherweight loss, that was not to a man named Volkanovski, was against Conor McGregor in like 2014. So, yes, Max is a gatekeeper now, no debate. He should have moved up to 55. But he wants to keep control of his division. I think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna take another young guy to school like he did with Kattar and fucking Yair. And it's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait. The betting odds have Max minus 170 to plus 145. I would shrink that a little bit to more of a minus 135 Max to plus 110. A smaller favorite, but still a favorite. Because Max did just get 50-45 pretty badly, not that long ago, 7 months ago. So, how is that going to affect him? In his mind, he knows he's not fighting for the belt unless Volk loses, which when the fuck is Volk going to lose? So, I think it's going to be a great fight. I cannot wait, but I am saying the best is still Blessed. Max Holloway by decision. Allen, I think, is going to be taken back to school again. Max takes another featherweight to school. Well, those are my picks. To go over them one more time, over this great card. Lucie Pudilová by decision. Gaston Bolaños by knockout in the first. Bruna Brasil by decision. Lando Vannata by decision. Piera Rodriguez probably lock of the night by decision. Zak Cummings by decision. Bruna Royval by decision. Algeo by decision. Guida by decision. Chris Gutierrez by decision. Tanner Boser by knockout in the second. Azamat Murzakanov by decision. Billy Q by knockout in the second. And Max Holloway by decision. Yeah, not many finishes, but I'm not gonna, you know me, I'm not gonna force a finish onto a prediction unless I actually think it's gonna be finished. And a lot of these fights I think could be finishes, but I don't think they will, if that makes sense. So it's a great card. 14 fights in Kansas City before we go back to the Apex for 2 weeks. But I can't wait for this card. It's going to be fun. Hope that everyone enjoys it. Tell me your picks for it down below. And unless I'm forgetting something to say, you'll hear from me Sunday, 1 p.m. EST for a recap of this card. And you'll hear from me Friday, 1 p.m. EST next week for a breakdown of Pavlovich and Blades in the Apex, which is a pretty good card actually. So, gonna be a fun one. Can't wait. And unless I'm forgetting something to say, like, comment, sub. 100 subs go by the end of the year. And as always, RX out. The best is blessed.